listeners, and welcome along to another episode of Telecast PH, the TeleworkPH Business Process Outsourcing Podcast, changing the way we look at outsourcing to the Philippines. This is a podcast dedicated to breaking through the cultural barriers in outsourcing to the Philippines. Here you'll find some business advice, motivational and mindset content, and I'll show you the benefits of outsourcing and how outsourcing can open up a whole new world for your business. And in return, you'll be helping our mission to make an impact on poverty in the Philippines. I'm BizDev Jeff, your host. Thanks for joining. Today, in our quest to change the way the Western world looks at outsourcing to the Philippines, I've invited a very special guest to join me via Skype. She's a wife, a mother, and director of human resources and admin for TeleworkPH. Dreamy Loquinario is here to talk about human resources and some behind the scenes into what it takes to run a large scale call center from a human resources and administration end. Dream, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Jeff, for inviting me today on your podcast. I'm really excited to be part of this.
Well, it's exciting to have you here, and I know we've talked about having you on the show and doing this interview for quite some time, but everything's just been crazy. Quarter one was with the expansion and everything else that was going on. It's just been crazy. You want to give us a little bit of background into you and your journey so far, and how you came to be at TeleworkPH? I know you had started as Marge's personal assistant, Marge, our CEO. Is that correct?
Yes, right. Actually, just to give you a brief background, I started as a customer service representative, like a lot of everyone else. So I was a customer service representative, and then I started doing freelancing work, doing customer service work for an online client, which is a tobacco company. It started like 2011, and then as I go by the years, I became a virtual assistant for some Shopify stores. Watch or dog accessories, and then we are part. I and Marge have been part of a freelancing Facebook group, and then one time she posted that she wanted to hire a project manager / hiring person for her because she wanted to focus on client acquisition or doing other administrative things for her business. So I think I was at the right chat group at the right time. So I saw her post or her message, and I sent her a direct message, and then she invited me for a coffee the next day. So we met, and then it all started from there.
Was that work from home that you did when you were doing that stuff before?
Yes.
The Shopify and everything else. So you had been in that setting, and then also now you're in the office setting. Now, how was it in the beginning as things began to grow? It seemed like your role began to take on more and more and more responsibility. So it was basically just you at that time. And then as your responsibilities grew, you had to begin to build a team.
Yes, that is right. I can remember we were just four. It's actually Marge, our technical officer, and then my husband doing recruitment for TeleworkPH. It was just the four of us, and then as we grew, I had to create from scratch our policies, different memos. It was hard, but eventually we saw the need to build a team, and now I think I'm handling a group of four HR assistants or HR specialists together with the administrative team of TeleworkPH.
So yeah, that was basically the biggest challenge was building it from scratch, starting it, just right away with no groundwork whatsoever in place. So that's a lot of stuff to build, a lot of stuff to take care of, and you turn around and I'm like, oh my goodness, we don't have a policy for this, we don't have a process for that. As these things are popping up, these little surprises, I remember back then because at the time I was still a team leader. So I wasn't yet
Mm-hmm.
involved in the office, and I had no idea what was going on. And it was just all of a sudden, everything just exploded. There was all of these things. I didn't know where everything was coming from. So it was really, really quite impressive. I've always been impressed with how you've gotten all of this stuff done.
Yes, I was also surprised by myself that everything was from scratch. Of course, I read a lot, as a lot of people, um, but then here we are. We've built something. We've built Telework.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's unrivaled if you ask me. Though, I mean, the growth that we've experienced over what is it? It's only been a year and a half, going from 32 agents to over 500.
Hmm.
So, and then you being in the thick of that, having to source everybody and hire them, and it's just been crazy. But it's a good thing. It's a good kind of crazy.
Yes.
But one of the things that I want to talk about is the purpose of the reboot of the Telecast PH
Hmm.
is my goal is to change the way the Western world looks at outsourcing to the Philippines. And I think that one of the things that holds business owners back from exploring the option of outsourcing to the Philippines is the cultural and language barriers that they may
Hmm.
perceive. Now we put our agents through some extensive testing
Hmm.
before they're considered, correct?
You're right.
And I mean,
Yes.
yeah, and that includes like English comprehension and grammar as well. How extensive is that?
Yeah, we do have testing subscriptions that would measure the applicant's level of understanding, critical thinking, and behavior towards certain situations. We also give them online tests that are email type, also even chat-like interface. And then our team continuously modify available tests that we have that will best fit what is needed on a specific job post. So aside from doing the interviews, we also rely on the results that was their results on the online assessments that we have.
And you do your level best to tailor fit agents to
Mm-hmm.
the specific account. You take that extra step. What is that like? What does that entail?
Well, hiring someone for a specific job post, for me, it entails a great amount of time, great amount of time screening. Not only submitted resumes online, also those who would go to our office personally and then would submit it. So we have to go through those resumes, and then um, it also entails a little, we do experience a little heartbreak with no show applicants, but still we get a great amount of joy when whenever we were able to meet and exceed our clients' expectations when it comes to hiring what they really need.
Now, many of our clients that come to us,
Mm-hmm.
or many of the prospects of the leads that I talk to, are under the impression that we have people just sitting around waiting to go to work. Waiting, they're already on the payroll and they're ready to just pick up an account. But we actually, whenever we bring in a lead, we have to source for that. Same as if the Western company was hiring an in-house staff, they would
Mm-hmm.
need to put out an ad. We go through the same procedures. Now, the challenge for us, being in with you and I working closely together, it's the
Mm-hmm.
challenge we both get aggravated with, is being in the rural area as opposed to a big city like Manila. Is
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it takes a little longer to source agents.
Yes, yes, that's right. It's not always the case that we have um, a candidate ready for interview. I know there are still a lot of potential candidates that are working outside Bulacan. So they are still, the challenge would be to make them, to let them know or show them that we are offering competitive offers, a great workplace culture. And at the end of the day, most of them are willing to trade that Manila life to be working with Telework PH.
Oh, absolutely, because you hit the nail on the head there when you said,
Mhm.
company culture, because that's how you get the best people. I mean, I've seen ads around here where they're, hiring bonus, sign-on bonus, trying to draw in good agents by offering them
Mm.
10,000 pesos, 15,000 pesos. And I think personally that the biggest thing that it will attract the best talent and the best skilled labor force is a great place to work.
Yes, if I may add, usually when I do an interview, towards the end, I always ask the candidate, what would make you stay in a company? And when they say, I would stay at a company if there's great bosses, and a good workplace. They don't usually say it's the salary. They usually say it's the people and the culture or the workplace that they will go into, that they will choose, rather than a high paying rate in Manila compared to Bulacan.
And I know one of the big differences, and it's a huge difference, especially in the Filipino culture, is being that we're in the rural area and not in the big city. They get to be
Mhm.
closer to their families, um, and that's why I think what our attrition rate is very low. It's like I think it's less than 10%, isn't it? Where the bigger BPOs in Manila, they're upwards of 40%.
Yes, actually like read a report comparing, for example, attrition rate in the BPO in India or BPO in Manila. It's actually like 33%. But on our end, or with TeleworkPH, when we gathered our data, the latest one would be 2019. At the end of 2019, it was just 12%. So it's still a lot lower to what is currently the attrition rate on a Manila-based BPO, which is more on like 25 to 30%.
That's amazing. And
Mm.
another thing that I wanted to point out is, and it's something that I see in our own office, especially with the several different accounts that we have. Our agents, our employees are not only dedicated to Telework PH, but they're dedicated to the client, to the account that they're working for. Um, they're very proud of that position. You know, they're very proud to not only be working for a call center, but to be working for a Western
Mm.
client and even interacting, on that level with.
Definitely.
Now you also help plan out. We're talking about the company culture and keeping them. And you also help plan out like special activities for morale and team buildings.
Yes, we do. From time to from I mean, we always have a meeting with the human resources team on how we would make our employees engage, or we actually have like an employee engagement officer. I
Mhm.
work with the admin team on doing sports fests, also making sure we have like a customer service week where we offer different treats to our employees, different prizes, and also yeah, from time to time we we give them awards on doing their hard work. And I mean, the little things also matters, like for example, just acknowledging that they were able to go to their work or to log in on time. Those little acknowledgement really helps the employees or really boost their morale.
Right, and now that's something that we take care of internally. That responsibility doesn't necessarily fall on the client, although
Mhm.
our clients do like to come through and give bonuses and incentives
Mhm.
on their own as well. But that's not something that we actually require of the clients. That's something that we do internally, as a company. So moving on, keeping the entire staff of over 500 in all levels of the department. You take care of from C level all the way down, to the agents. I mean, and I don't want to say that there's people above and below, but everybody in between, the entire company. all the we just had our meeting and you were talking about all the memos that were going to be coming out this week in the internal that all that also all falls under your should I say duties, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
but that's another thing that you take care of.
Yes, as the director of human resources as well as the administrative, it is my responsibility to make sure that these departments or each of our departments are functioning effectively, which is crucial in maintaining employee relations. So whatever clarifications, differences are being dealt. Employee suggestions are we make sure that employee suggestions are being heard and action. So it's not just within Telework PH, any other things that are happening outside Telework. We make sure these are cascaded to the team. That's why we always have memo just to make sure everyone understands and everyone would be calibrated. Making sure that they feel that they are part of the community that we have or the family that we have with Telework PH.
Right. So everybody's up to speed. Everybody has
Mm-hmm.
the information that they need, and and there's a lot of transparency in our company, and that's what I like. I like a lot of that we're not building walls in between departments. That we have such an open door policy to where people can go to their team leader and go through that chain,
Mm-hmm.
to get to the answers, and never have I heard anybody complain that their issues weren't taken care of or at least addressed, and that they didn't get time to speak with you when they needed to. I've
Yes.
actually seen I've seen you consoling upset agents that were upset or for whatever reason, because it does happen. It does happen. Like with any company,
Mm-hmm.
we've had minor issues with employees. However, for us, there is a slight difference since our employees or agents sometimes work directly with the clients. So, do you find this part challenging by keeping the employees in line with both company cultures?
Yes, in some way, it is quite difficult to make the employee understand that there is a thin line uh, being directly working with the client, but still being part of the Telework PH. So on our side, we make sure that every information that needs to be cascaded would be. I mean, we would give time on discussing it to them personally, so they would feel that they are part of Telework PH. That Telework PH will support them even though they have certain issues or they have difficulty with their specific tasks, but still Telework PH will be supporting them.
What about culture in general? Between the Western culture and the Philippine culture. I mean, I've never really seen anything more than slight misunderstandings here or
Mhm.
there. I mean, do you ever see that as an issue?
Yes, I know there are because we are like 500. We are 500. We have 500 employees, so I think of the big factor is that we are able to hire and hone leaders that are able to reach out to their team members on a personal level. So it usually gets fixed on their end before it reaches us or being blown out of proportion. So we are not only blessed, but also we take pride that we have good leaders that are able to manage this little misunderstanding here and there, which makes it easy to have a harmonious working environment with Delaware PH.
Love it, absolutely love it. Now, one thing that I know that human resources in every company has to deal with, and that's employee beefs, employees that you know just can't get along for some reason, or they want to report each other. But in our business, when you have two employees, and we had this situation not too long ago,
Mm.
where you have two agents working on the same account at the same time, and they just couldn't get along. They just couldn't get along, and you had to do your best to make sure to fix the situation, but not only fix the situation, but to make sure that the client and the client's customers,
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel that, didn't, because, that's probably the worst thing that could possibly happen is to have the client give that kind of feedback. That's a difficult situation. Can you give a little bit of insight into that?
First of all, as much as possible, we would not like our clients to be involved or would know that some of our employees are not getting along because we don't want to affect their productivity. So what we do is as soon as we hear that there are some misunderstanding, we ask the concerned employees and we hear them out and we make sure that we provide solutions for the both of them. We might not be able to make them um, agree to each other, but we compromise, and at the end of the day, remind them that it we are here to work and provide a good service to our clients, and our personal differences should not affect it in any way.
Right, because you can never force two people to like each other if they're just not going to like each other. Some people are just like oil and vinegar, and it happens with every company. And uh, the people that are listening now, and some of these business owners may think that some of these questions are counterintuitive to what we're doing
Mm-hmm.
here. And I'm trying to promote outsourcing, but I also want our listeners to know that we have the same issues as every. I'm not trying to paint anything with rose-colored glasses. That we do have issues with employees, like every company, especially as we expand and we grow and friendships develop internally and whatnot. So, but the goal here was or is to let everybody know that we have processes, we have ways of taking care of these issues so that our clients never feel them. They never even hear about it or need to hear about it, for that matter. So circling back to your duties and everything else, and how you started this from scratch. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was all of the things that human resources is such a broad department. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's all the filings and the government, this and that, the taxes and the benefits, and you attend a lot of meetings. I know you're always in a meeting with finance, you're in a meeting with your team, you're in a meeting over here, you're in a meeting over there, you're down to the SSS, or the tax place. What advice would you give to someone like yourself a year and a half ago, who has to build an HR team like you have from scratch?
I would say read a lot. It is very important to read a lot of reliable sources, and then after reading it, if it's in the internet, bookmark them. So you could go back on that, so you could get your references right. Another thing is do not hesitate to ask questions. You would learn a lot in asking questions to those people that you know would be able to help you. And for me, the best teacher would be experience. When we started with Telework PH, I personally went to the offices that we need to comply with. I talked to the people directly on what we need to comply, what we need to submit. So it gave me a lot of insights, and I was never afraid of asking questions. Another thing that helped me is that um, I make it a point to be kind to those people that I interact with. I mean, when we go to like government offices, it's very easy to get irritated when it comes to lines or when it gets a little, um, if it gets
It gets hot. It gets
that it gets
long and
hot,
dusty.
there's a long
Right.
line. Sometimes it takes a lot of time waiting, but it pays to be kind to anyone that you're interacting with, and after dealing with them and being able to show them a little smile, they are more than willing to help you out, and that is a big thing for those that are just starting. Being able to have people helping you out as you start, and making along the way you became friends with them. So and then after making friends with them, the networking starts. So yeah, it is also very helpful that you have like a positive attitude and a positive relationship with the people that you are working with.
That's some of the best advice I think that I've ever heard, and definitely the best advice we've ever had on the podcast. Because, we see it on LinkedIn and on Facebook and on social media where people are talking about, be kind, be kind, be kind. But here you've
Mm,
taken it and you've put it actually into a situation where being kind not only serves you, but it helps with the networking, and there's really no reason to go in there and make somebody else's day bad
yeah.
or worse because you had to wait in line because I mean, you might be having a bad day as well. Now
Mm.
that's some great advice. Thank you for that. For you personally, what's the most challenging? Is it the regulations and government compliance
Mm-hmm.
side, or is it dealing with the employees? What do you find most challenging in your role?
In my role, complying is hard in a sense that it entails a lot of paperwork or documentation. But uh, the hardest part would be being the middle person. When you have like an employee, uh, when you are on a HR, when you are on the HR human resources department, you become, there are a lot of memes over there that would say you are the lawyer, you are also the judge. So it's very hard to balance that role, but still making sure that every action that you would make would benefit not only the employees but also Telework PH as a whole. So yeah, the balancing of all the roles that the human resources have.
And on top of all that, you're also the director of the administration side, which basically takes care of everything from the nurse to the utility staff to, pretty much all of the workings, making sure that, the temperature is okay. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know that, I work from home. My listeners know I work from home. And
Mm-hmm.
when I visit the office, we have a top-notch utility staff. I mean, I gotta, I know that might not matter much to the clients that we're trying to reach out to, but to me it's important because every time I go there, the place is like impeccably clean. The windows are just clean. The coffee is stocked, the water is stocked, so that the agents have everything that they need. And that's something that you also take care of, and making sure that well, you oversee that
Mm-hmm.
administrative staff as well.
Yeah, you are right. I oversee the administrative side of Telework PH. It's not only the culture that is very important to our employees. We see the need to provide a good working environment for them because employees also want to go to an office that they are comfortable with, that they are able to um, be provided with the things that are basic needs, like just like water, like what you've said, coffee, a good air conditioning unit. So it's very important for employees that they go to work and they feel comfortable going to work, and with that they are able to produce good results for our clients.
Absolutely. That's just one of the extra steps, because there are companies out there that don't provide a lot of the things that we do. The new pantry that we got up, which I like that because it gives the employees a place to get away from their computer station, and rest their eyes and talk amongst themselves, just for that break time before they have to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So now on top of all of that you do for Telework PH, you have your children and your home that you take care of, but you also do some advocacy for breastfeeding. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for mentioning that. Aside from being part of TeleworkPH or doing freelancing work, I take pride on being part of a women group. So happy International Women's Month to all our podcast listeners. I'm part of a Facebook group which is Breastfeeding Bulacañas. We recently got an award for being one of the outstanding women groups here in Bulacan.
Wow.
We
Good.
it's a group of women that are not just housewives. They're also working mommies, but still able to provide assistance to those who are pregnant, who just gave birth, and those who wanted to breastfeed or having a difficulty in breastfeeding, because we really believe that it's the best choice for all the mothers. So yeah, I am a proud member of that community.
Now, there was a Facebook page or something that you wanted to let people know that they could get more information about that, even if they're, in the local area or not in the local area?
Yeah, if they are on a local area, they could just search breastfeeding Bulacañas and in Facebook, so they would see all our activities, or they those mothers that are struggling, they could just post their questions, and all other mothers will be able to help them. We also do, if I may add, we also do like talks to different offices. So I would also like to do that actually in Telework PH too, since we also have a lot of female employees. So providing them more information about parenting, about motherhood, I believe that would really help them out.
Well, it sounds like you really have a lot on your plate and you handle it all magnificently. I'm always impressed with the amount of things that you are able to get done. And then I see, of course, when you post on Facebook the activities that you do with your children, your daughters,
Mhm.
and you even find time, to spend with your husband. That I also see on Instagram and Facebook, and how you maintain that work-life balance is. It's just beyond me. I'm gonna have to get you back on again and talk about the work-life balance next time. But for now, we're out of time. So
Mhm.
that's going to wrap it up for this installment of Telecast BH. Thank you so much for being here, Dream.
Thank you, Jeff, for making me part of this great podcast.
I appreciate it. So I've been BizDev Jeff, and again, special thanks to Dream for being on here and taking the
Mhm.
time to do the interview. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe. And if you're on the YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload new content. And I'm always looking for great feedback, so comments are always welcome. And of course, if you want to find out more about TeleworkPH, all you got to do is hop on over to www.teleworkph.com or hit me up on LinkedIn. Just search BizDev Jeff Thompson or the hashtag BizDevJeff. And as the late great Dr. Wayne Dyer said, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Take care, everyone. Be safe. This is BizDev Jeff signing off.